Hello everyone, my name is Prima, and oh boy, Sinnoh confirmed, am I right? Twice, in fact. Not only do we get a remake that's literally just a remake, but we also get I think they call it pre-make, that's called Pokemon Legends Arceus. And oh boy, this game, Legends Arceus, it looks really good. Like, we have seamless transitions into battle, you're actually battling on the field right now, and Pokemon are actually hitting each other. Like, actually freaking hitting each other. About time. Last time we saw that, I believe, was in Pokemon Battle Revolution, 2007-ish, maybe? But yeah, this game is like everything a lot of Pokemon fans have been wanting to see for a while. It's pretty much Breath of the Wild Pokemon. Yeah, everyone's been wanting that. But one thing came to my mind almost instantly, and that was the starters. You know, Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott. I think that these are great picks because they're not really that popular. Well, okay, Oshawott isn't really that popular, but it gives them their own chance to shine. And it's just really cool. Again, especially Oshawott. I love you, buddy, but you're unfortunately not that popular. Why are they there to begin with? All we're told is that a certain professor brought them over to the region from traveling all across the world. Who exactly this professor isn't clear, but I have a feeling that it might be one of Cynthia's ancestors, because she did visit Johto, Unova, and Alola. Maybe that's just a coincidence, or maybe her late family lives there. I find these starters interesting, because it tells us that the current starters that we know and love from Sinnoh weren't always available for people to choose. And perhaps that starters in the past were treated completely different as they are today. Another interesting detail is that people just moved to Sinnoh, which implies that it really wasn't that populated before they did. Kinda makes me wonder if all the people in the Pokemon world also came from one place, just like we did, and then later spread out all across the world. Either way, there's lots of interesting stuff to look at, especially regarding the starters. So, let's go ahead and dive in. Starter Pokemon are often extremely rare in nature. Most of the time you can get one from your professor, and that's it. Sure, you can breed more, but you hardly ever find one in the wild. But Piplup is available here, along with the other two. So why aren't they just used instead? Well, considering the humans just got there, they don't know too much about them, obviously. After all, it is your job to fill out the first Pokedex. So this professor just brought Pokemon with them that they already knew about, potentially hinting at the fact that all we know about is Johto, Unova, and Alola. Perhaps their Pokedexes are already filled out, and maybe your professor just wants you to do the same in Sinnoh, since it's so undiscovered currently. Either way, it's clear that Sinnoh really isn't that old, despite all the myths around it. Yeah, sure, the land itself has been around for much longer, but not the population. A lot of people have been saying that it's apparently based on feudal Japan. Honestly, that wasn't such a long time ago. That may seem like a lot to our tiny human brains, but in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's pretty recent. Loxton did make a video explaining how this game might be set in the Edo period instead. And if so, then dang yeah, people have populated this region extremely quickly. So if this game is indeed set in the Edo period, then all of what I'm going to say later will hit even harder. This puts up interesting questions about the timeline of all games as well. Maybe the other regions were going through a similar process of having professors give young trainers Pokemon, or maybe the professors were the trainers in the past, and your trainer after beating the game might normalize and popularize using a Rowlet and Alola, for instance. Or maybe even take a Chimchar with you to, let's say, Unova, and popularize it there as an OG Sinnohmon. Maybe all starter Pokemon were numerous back in the day, and people didn't really think of it much. But the professors though, something about them, their nature, their 3-stage evolution, all of which had aligned with the starter Pokemon they already knew about from other regions. Yeah, you could import starters, but that's probably much more expensive, and of course over time you want to stop relying on import Pokemon, and start using the ones that are already around your living space. Sinnoh was still growing back then, so it made sense that professors would want to give their trainers easy Pokemon to use. But of course, as we all know, Turtwig, Piplup, and Chimchar all later on became the official starters of Sinnoh, and at the same time after that, their populations in the wild decreased rapidly. So what's up with that? I mean, surely it'd be a better idea to just, take a trainer with you and let them catch their own Pokemon by themselves. Just like how Wally caught his own Ralts in Gen 3. I mean, just imagine how cool that would be, right? A trainer would go along with a professor, or even on their own, to just catch some random Pokemon in the wild. Okay, I just had the strangest idea ever. What if you're a trainer and you just go up to, I don't know, let's say a Caterpie, right? And you just beat it up, and then you chuck a ball at it, and there you go, that's your first Pokemon caught. Are they ever gonna do that? Probably not, but it's funny to imagine. Better yet, why don't these professors just, I don't know, set up a breeding program? You know, just nab some Pokemon from the wild and just breed them in captivity to give to young trainers. You know, anyone keeping wild animals in captivity should know that it's probably a good idea to have some in the wild so that if it ever goes wrong, you have a backup. It's just common sense. Okay, maybe this all happened because the people of Sinnoh wanted Piplup to be their Pokemon. You can only get a Piplup if you go to Sinnoh and talk to some old guy and just get the Pokemon. You can't just go into the wild and nab a penguin while you're at it. Or it could be that the regions were actually at war at each other back in the day. I mean, there was a war in Kalos that was not too recent, 3,000 years ago. It could just be that they wanted their starters to be from their region because they didn't like the other regions. Heck, maybe that's even why Sinnoh was formed, because people were just sick of all the war that was happening all around them, and they just wanted a peaceful island to live on. Nowadays, these regions don't seem to be at odds with each other. They're rather friendly, so their starter program thingies might just be some type of tourism. If you want to see those Pokemon, come to those regions, visit the professor. That all sounds nice and all, but in the past, I definitely think starter Pokemon were treated possibly just awful, and easily driven to extinction by humans who just got to the place, stole their natural resources, and then later realized that they screwed up, and kept the individuals to themselves, but also at the same time probably noticed how popular these Pokemon were around children. So instead of breeding and releasing them back into the wild, they kept them in captivity due to their human-friendly nature. The Industrial Revolution, or the Pokemon version of it, could also be the cause of the almost extinction of these Pokemon, since that naturally has an effect on the land of the region, and we know that the land is much different nowadays, less nature and more people. One thing I assumed about starters is that they give them to young trainers to have them easily and quickly evolve, reproduce, and then reintroduce them into the wild. If that's true, then it's certainly a bit messed up of the older generation to have their mistakes be fixed by the young'uns. You know, and that raises an interesting question. Is it a good idea to release these starters back into the wild after, you know, the wild has lived without them for a long time, and they've adapted to basically not needing them? I guess you could compare it to pandas in real life, right? Lots of people think pandas are adorable, and they're really popular because of it, but pandas don't want to reproduce at all. They're very iffy and annoying about that. What if starter Pokemon are like that as well? Plus, that high male ratio probably doesn't help either. Or it could be the case that not all starter Pokemon are native to their own region, that a lot of them are just invasive species, you know, just like Yungoos. Or you could just bring up Ultra Space, right? These games are just set in a different timeline, universe, whatever. That would certainly answer a lot of difficult questions the community has. Hey, if the question is too difficult for anyone to answer, just say it's in the Ultra Space. That'll solve a lot of things. Starter Pokemon are definitely an interesting bunch, and I'm really interested in seeing how the current Gen 4 starters became the way that they are. I'm really hoping that this will get answered in the next Pokemon game, because Game Freak really just needs to give us some consistent lore. That'd be great. Game Freak, can you please do that? Honestly, with all the buzz surrounding this game, I wasn't really sure if I was going to make a video on it. Besides, I love biology, ecology, and all that stuff. I'm not really much into lore or mythology. I just don't know that much about it, which is what Sinnoh was all about. But of course, I'm glad that I was able to talk about something that relates to biology and ecology, and I really hope that future trailers will give me something to talk about as well. I'm already very busy with creating my own fan region, so I don't know how many videos I'll make about this game, but I'll definitely try. So, what do you think of the starters in Pokemon Legends Arceus? And what do you think happened to the wild populations of Piplup and Chimchar? Please let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I got lots of cool stuff on the channel, and always more coming soon. I want to give a massive thank you to my assistant professor and lecturer patrons, Ty Burns, Gloomba331, Delta Majora, and Gwen Joy. Y'all are the best. And with that being said, I hope y'all have a good day, night, or morning, and as always, take care.